Welcome to this video about round 3 of the candidates in London. And after this very timid round 1, we have a really spectacular tournament now. We had 2 decisive games yesterday, and today it was really a big fight on all boards basically. Let's start with the game Kramnik against Ivanchuk, which in comparison really was rather less exciting. Let's put it this way. Yeah, Kramnik plays g3 against Ivanchuk's knight f6 and g6. With Ivanchuk, you're not completely sure if he intends to play the King's Indian or the Grunfeld. Against g3, however, he went for the Grunfeld, and we got the well-known main line here. I really don't want to get into details. This is a very sophisticated way to play with white. Those little moves like h3 are important, but I'm the wrong guy to ask what exactly is so great about a move like h3. I don't know the theory. So basically what we got was this kind of position. Let's put just a couple of more moves on the board. It's all very normal. We see that black has a slightly worse pawn structure, but he's got good pieces. The knight is active on c4, this bishop is active, and well, g7 is not so great, but those this f5 and c4 pieces are good. And Kramnik actually managed to even win a pawn somewhat later here, but black got quite decent activity, attacking both bishops. And it's not so easy to make any progress as white. Maybe there was some way to make some headway, but at least Kramnik didn't find anything. We see that here we had a perpetual and game drawn. It is not possible for white to really go for anything. If you look at this, this was played in the game, and if white now tries to continue with something like this, the problem is that it is very difficult now to find some constructive plan. If white, for example, tries to move the pawns here, there's move a5, and you're even worse. The pieces are not very well coordinated. Alternatively, let's say white would play h4, then there's also a5. And how do you continue here? Something like this won't amount to much. Probably you even need to be cautious here. So not much to play for. So this is why they made a draw. Next, let's check Swidler Radjabov. This was much more interesting. And Swidler playing d4. He really seems to have abandoned the king's pawn for the moment. And Radjabov finally goes for his trademark King's Indian, and Swidler playing f3. Interesting. It's not the most popular line nowadays, the Zemish against the King's Indian, but it is a valid choice, of course. Radjabov plays c5, this pawn sacrifice. White can now take this if he wants. This line. But this is long believed to be fine for black due to the dark squared weaknesses, knight d7, e5, d3 moves like that. So white declines this, and we have this position where for decades it was believed that knight e5 is the way to go, and it's still the main line. But Radjabov goes for knight a5, which recently rose to fashion. The idea is to get some quick play in on the queen side. And what you really need to look at here is the time. This is very interesting. Swidler has spent close to nothing here, and Radjabov as well. But look what happens now. A6, quite normal. You want to play b5, bishop e2, all played instantly by Swidler. And now 30 minutes by Radjabov, yeah, for move 10. And this is simply shocking. he's in an absolute mainstream line, and he spends 30 minutes on move 10. This is really amazing. He's maybe the #1 expert on the King's Indian in the world, and he obviously doesn't have anything against the Semish. I mean, what is this? I don't get it. I mean, White's moves are completely normal, like rook c1. What else? I mean, queen d2, maybe queen d2, but rook c1 is entirely logical. What Gelfand played here, and then he spent a further 2 minutes for b5. Okay. Sorry, I need to change this now. Okay, b5, and white took it, and here again 30 minutes. 30 minutes for this move. I mean, what else? You need to go to c4, and this is really mysterious. In the meantime, look what Swidler did. He spent 3 minutes, and this is not even with increment. This is pure 3 minutes. He basically took the time to write the moves down, and otherwise he simply played his preparation. And this is nothing spectacular. I mean, it's completely normal moves, and certainly easy to prepare. And he obviously seems to have caught Radjabov completely off guard. It's really amazing. And the next move, instantly, castles. Knight c4, and immediately bishop g5. This was obviously all prepared by Swidler. And yeah, well, this is just move 15. I mean, this is normal that they have this prepared, and none of those moves were too difficult. And look what happens. Radjabov plays bishop d7. He could have taken on b2, but this is also very unclear. It's of course spooky if your opponent plays everything instantly. And Swidler continued to play quickly, but not like blitzing moves. And here he took on b2. The thing is, have a look at this position. If black doesn't do anything radical soon, then he will simply be a pawn down. It's not a regular Benko. It looks like the typical Benko pressure, but if White gets his pieces organized, then he will play f4, e5, f5, and so on. It's not like your typical simple play on the queen side. So let's say rook b8, just for instance. White can do various things, but the easiest is just like this: b3. The knight moves somewhere. I don't know. Maybe back is better. But what is happening after a move like f4? And then you can choose various things. f5 is dangerous, or even e5 at some point can be a problem. So he chose to play knight takes b2, spending further time. We had to have this kind of exchange operation, and here this move, which looks simply terrible, but maybe this was the relatively best chance. If you don't take this, you won't even have a chance to get the a-pawn, but he doesn't get the a-pawn here anyway. It simply led to this position, to an endgame. To an endgame where Swidler had 50 minutes more on the clock, Radjabov down to 2, and in addition it is entirely winning for White, and it's not even difficult technically. The problem is, look at this position. The rook covers the knight covers the pawn. Everything is nicely coordinated, and it's a material advantage anyway with 2 pieces against the rook. Plus there's e5 coming, and Swidler did an efficient mop-up job here. he won further material on d6 a couple of moves later here, and Radjabov played this on for quite a while, even in a really dead loss position when he was forced to give up more material, and here he resigned. Yeah, very strange game where Radjabov was unrecognizable. The thing is, this is really just complete, I mean, a very conventional line. There's nothing special here. That he doesn't have anything prepared is really amazing. Of course, he couldn't reckon that Swidler would play exactly the same-ish, but it's an absolute main line of the King's Indian. You need to have some preparation. You cannot start to think on move 10 at this level and then have a crab benko afterwards. It's really a bit amazing. Okay, next game, Ivanchuk Aronian. I won't do this in much detail. It was very complicated and hard to figure out what was happening. Here also the time is very interesting, the time spent. Ivanchuk with the Trompovsky, avoiding all mainstream theory. And it, after a couple of moves, it transposes to another queen's pawn opening, the Torre attack. Yeah, here in this position white plays short castles normally, but Ivanchuk decided to go for something else. He took on f6, giving up the bishop pair, and continued h4. This looks a bit like yeah, a crude attack in a blitz game, intending bishop takes h7. But okay, he obviously decided to play in a non-conventional fashion. But have a look what happens. Knight c6, and now he played knight g5. You cannot sacrifice now, but you need to check it, of course. The thing is, this is in fact mating very easily, even. But black is not forced to take. He can go to h6, and this should win. There's simply not enough firepower for white to continue. There's no bishop on f4, for example. So this is not working. But knight g5 is interesting. g6 must cover, and now he played f4, covering this knight. I was more expecting queen to g4 here. This wouldn't have weakened the structure so much. The thing is, f4 is a little bit of a, yeah, it's really like crossing the point of no return. After this, white is so weakened. Here, g3, g4, e3, everything is weak, that you really need to get something very concrete on the king, or otherwise you're strategically in very bad shape. And Aronian played knight e7, queen to g4, and h5, blocking the king side and getting, if you look at this, b5, yeah, strong. This prepares the outpost on d5 for the knight, and it's also a pawn sacrifice. But if white takes, Ivanchuk didn't, played a3. If white takes him, then queen b6, for example, gives black very good play. You don't even lose a pawn, really. Okay, you cannot take here now. Maybe you can even. Look at this. There's this hanging. Yeah, okay, this is not good. It just opens up white's position. Yeah, Ivanchuk played a3, queen b6, rook g1, intending g4 probably. And yeah, it's very complicated. But have a look. Aronian has got 1 hour 23 minutes left, and Ivanchuk is down to 21 minutes. And this is not all of it. He spent much more time in the next couple of moves. b4 by Aronian. This is of course very very direct move. Takes, and what happens if white now takes on d4? There's f5 coming, and also d4 is hanging, so f5 is the strongest, but you can also consider to take. This is hanging, and black will have a huge attack. Just look at the bishops. f5 is stronger though. Yeah, this is what Ivanchuk played. It's down to 9 minutes. Queen to b5. Here Aronian could have played queen to c7, and this is even stronger. This is a possible continuation. And now something like this. This controls the whole center, and black simply has got 2 bishops in an open position. Where does white king go? It's simply a big advantage for black. What he played was also good for an advantage. This is no doubt. Yeah, down to 5 minutes. And of course it's 2 knights against 2 bishops. Black is clearly better. And now 44 seconds. This is not 100% precise, but very close to it. Yeah, now the ICC clock is even on a minus minus level. It is not completely accurate here. Of course, it's not minus. It's not possible with the game continuing. But Ivanchuk was down to seconds, like 15 seconds or something, for at this point, and it's simply not possible to play 15 moves in 15 seconds, or in 30 seconds for that matter, in a position where it is really really complicated. He managed a couple of more moves, and Aronian didn't play the best moves also. But the thing is, if you are absolutely sure that your opponent will lose on time, you make mistakes. It's almost a given, because you know you will win on time, and you don't play that accurately anymore. In fact, after this, Aronian played e5, and this is not clear. This is the best, but it made Ivanchuk spend even more time. This was the idea, a tactical shot. If white now takes on e4, there's simply rook e5, and this is easy, winning the queen. But he's got this, and this is what Ivanchuk played with his last seconds. And here the remaining moves were rook to b6. This is in fact the best move. Queen b6, queen f3, and now black is better even. Yeah, this is a very, very strong attack. But the thing is, Ivanchuk had no chance to make the time control. There was this played, and I'm not sure if this was even played, because I think he overstepped the time at this moment. I'm not quite sure if the ICC relay is correct here, but he overstepped the time here or one move before. Here it's 5 seconds here on the clock, but he lost some time. And it was basically no question after move 25 around here that he will lose on time. It wasn't possible to make these moves, and this is really not a good sign, because yeah, you should spend your time a little bit better. And frankly, this whole way of playing was a little bit strange. So let's hope that this isn't getting a complete meltdown for Ivanchuk. It happened time and time again when he had a bad start to a tournament, that he would lose games with really strange things happening. Okay, so a win for Aronian. He's in great shape with +2 after 3 rounds. I think this is better than he even expected. So there's one game left, Gelfand Carlsen. Let's go to that. And Gelfand lost yesterday, this game against Aronian, so Carlsen probably wants to try a little bit to tickle him and maybe catch him with some maybe provoke some mistakes by a person who is a bit shaken by this loss. Yeah, Carlsen played the Queen's Gambit declined here. Okay, this is not the most aggressive opening ever, but at least it keeps some pieces on the board, and it can lead to a fight. And in fact, Gelfand surprised me a little bit by allowing the Cambridge Springs, this line, which is not bad or anything. It's a good way to play against with white, to allow that. But I thought, given the situation, he would more go for the exchange here. This kind of line where white can press with little risk for ages, and it's very hard to lose. This would also fit Gelfand's style nicely, but he didn't play that. Okay, he went for this, which is no mistake, of course. Yeah, the Cambridge Springs, a really ancient line in the Queen's Gambit, declined, where traditionally the main moves are knight d2, and in recent years c takes d5. And this is the sharper move, which in fact Gelfand played. He really went in for a fight. And now he played rook c1, which is a bit of a rarity. The normal move is here queen d2, which can lead to this, and to quite interesting unbalanced play. Very often this even entails a pawn sacrifice on this pawn on c3. Later, of course, not at the moment. But rook c1 is a bit different, because now black has at least one additional option, and this is what Carlsen played. He took on c3 and played bishop a3. So at the first possible moment he's playing a sideline, so to say. And Gelfand had 20 minutes spent already. He wasn't expecting this, it seems. Where did he spend the time actually? This is interesting. He spent the time even here, deciding to go for the Cambridge Springs. Okay. Yeah, bishop a3. This is a rare move. This has been only played 2 or 3 times before, at least in my database, and it's not such a small one. So the idea is bishop a3. It simply attacks the rook, and it needs to go to the somewhat ugly square c2, and then b6. It's simply preparing bishop a6, and the next couple of moves are, I think, very understandable. Bishop a6, exchanging, and castle. So we have a position where 2 pairs of minor pieces have been exchanged, and black intends to play c5 later. He doesn't have a bad piece. This is good. The bishop on c8 is exchanged, and this has been played before in a game by, now it gets complicated, by Russian, Belgium, Turkish Grandmaster Mikhail Gurevich. He played for all these federations, maybe not for Russia, maybe it was the Soviet Union back then. Then he played for Belgium, then for Turkey, and now he's one of those coaches of the Turkish national team. He had played this last year in a tournament, and had a good position. So it was not a completely new concept that Carlsen played here, but he used a rare line again. Yeah, here of course there are multiple multiple ways to play as white. Gelfand chose to take the center with e4, which cannot be bad really. Rook e8, freeing f8 for some piece. Bishop or knight, both might make sense. And now e5. And I really don't like this move so much. It's not bad, yeah, but it leads to a position where I always have the feeling that white needs to prove something, that he really has equality. I'll show you what I mean a little bit later. Have a look. h6, winning a tempo, and c5. And now we see what happens. Black exchanges here, and now we have this position where d5 is a weak spot. If and okay, this is just theoretical possibility. Black would now be able to sort of beam this knight to d5. From d7 to d5 he would have a brilliant position with this outpost on d5, and black has got 2 against 1 on the queen side. So in this position, the only thing that black needs to do is get the knight to d5 and have a really nice advantage. White's ideas are based on something to d6 maybe, maybe from c4, and he's got some space. But I always feel that this is not so great for white with lots of pieces exchanged, and we have quite some exchanges already. Carlsen just plays rook c8, and this is tactically interesting because this move at first looks very good, but he has queen b5, and this is a nice way here to use the pin. White now cannot win any material on a3, queen a3, there's just rook c4, black is okay. Yeah, Gelfand played f4, this looks active, but it also sort of weakens white king a bit. Rook c7, just simple chess, intending to double on the c file, and now white didn't see anything better than get rid of this this pinning situation. Bishop f2 was necessary to guard d4, and this is exactly the kind of position I was talking about. Just imagine black would be able to get this in, knight to d5, then this is simply terrible for white, and white needs to avoid this scenario, and it somehow feels to me that white needs to be precise already. It's not too difficult to do probably, but this is why I didn't like e5 so much. But it's not bad objectively, but it feels like white should have had something better. Knight f8, yeah, intending exactly this course. g3 protects f4, and now rook c8. Of course, black wants to get rid of the rook. Important thing is, if you look at this, if white goes here, which looks good at first sight, black's got queen a6 and has nice play against a2, and there are even possibilities to invade here. If white, for example, drops the rook back, then there's queen d3 with already a big advantage for black. So in the game, Gelfand played g3, rook c8, getting rid of the rooks. And now the important move d5. This was necessary. You don't want to allow any kind of thing like, let's say, what can white do? Besides, d5 is very natural. But yeah, let's say he plays a move like this here. Then black will probably go here, control the d5 square, and then intend the mentioned regrouping with the big edge at the end. This is why d5, getting rid of this pawn. He took, and now set up a good position on the king side. a3, yeah, just keep the pawn protected here, and h5. And here Gelfand played a surprising move, which really yeah, it surprised many title players when I was looking at the live broadcast. He played h4. Putting a pawn on dark squares is really somewhat strange with this bishop. It weakens the light squares and it hampers your ideas of, hampers is a good word, h3, g4 is not possible anymore. He had a very concrete idea, and it seems this wasn't really a bad idea, but it needed precise play. And look at the time, this is very important. Black has got 45 minutes extra, and this is quite huge. This is logical because white was threatening f5. If black would have played some slow moves, then there's f5 coming, and white has chances now against the king. This is why this was played, controlling the square. And now white activated the queen, and we had a couple of more moves where I had this wrong here. Carlsen played b5 and allowed f5 to continue the fight, This is really typical. He always tries to keep the game going and pose some problems. And look what happened here. We've got this exchange. He took the a pawn, of course. Gelfand took h5, so the king is exposed, black's king, here. And now, check, king f8. And now Gelfand had about 2 minutes on the clock. This is just roughly 2 minutes. You don't know exactly if it is 2 minutes, 2 minutes 10, 1 minute 50 seconds, something like this. And here Gelfand could have drawn the game, and in a very straightforward fashion with queen h5, but he didn't. He played h5. Queen h5 was much better, intending queen to h8, and this is really a draw. Black has no way to get out of this, especially if you look at this here. It's not just a matter of checks, there's also the h pawn, and this here forces a draw, because the h pawn is actually quicker than black's pawns. Black cannot push his own pawns. If he goes here and tries to push himself, then this is even of course winning for white. It's very quick here, this pawn. So black must allow a draw. He can always play something like this and start to give checks himself. So queen h5 would have drawn, but it's move 40, yeah, and very unlucky for Gelfand. He only had little time. Played h5, which doesn't look so bad as well, but that allowed queen to c1, and now suddenly the queen is covering h6, so that pawn to h6 is not possible. And how does the white queen now get to the king? He tried queen e4, sensible move. And Carlsen pushed, bishop e3, attacking the queen. And here I think Carlsen had a better option. At least if you look at this with an engine, it gives queen to c8 instead of queen c7 as stronger, but it's very difficult. And I'm also not 100% convinced really, because I had limited time to analyze this, and it's very tactical. Of course, you cannot simply give it to a computer and it tells you, yeah, this and that. You need to look a bit deeper, and this is very tricky in this position. Queen c8 is maybe better on a general level, because it simply prevents queen a8 check, and it's not so clear how white should proceed here. Queen h7 is probably the toughest idea, going for various checks, but this is answered by queen c6 check, king f2, and now the b pawn is starting to roll. A possible continuation is here check, another check. I think now this is stronger. h6, queen c2 for example, b2, h7, very, very sharp, because yeah, we've got possibilities for 4 queens on the board. The best, however, is queen to f5 check, queen, and now this funny way, not taking, king d6 is much stronger, king d6, queen, and now a move like a4, and this is a clear edge for black. The king is more active, but it is not insecure, simply because this knight is such a great defending piece, and white's king is very exposed. This is a big advantage for black. Maybe it's winning, but this is all very difficult to assess. If you look at this, it's from move, it's 10 moves deep, this line, and I'm not even sure if this is in any way forced. The computer says simply queen c8 and wins, but I'm not 100% convinced. Carlsen played this at least, and Gelfand gave this check. There was also h6 possible, but it's not a big difference. Now he plays h6, queen e4, and now queen to d8. Of course, Carlsen wants to continue, and here's something very curious happened, and this is really showing that Gelfand is not in top shape here. Here white, of course, just must go to g6, to c6, keeping the queen on the board, and it's not clear if this is if white can draw this. It's not clear at all, but you need to try. This is the only way to even try for something. Black can continue in various ways. He can play b3 or knight f8. It's very tricky to analyze. I think black has good winning chances, but you need to try to do that. What he did is he exchanged queens and went into a dead lost endgame. And this is really easy. I really don't know what. Maybe he had some simple miscalculation. Sometimes even the best players just overlook a really simple thing. Just a couple of weeks ago, I had an endgame where I simply counted wrong. I mean, simple 1 + 1 + 1, and I simply miscounted and lost. Very stupid. If you look at this, you think I'm brain dead. Okay, so here Carlsen just needed to push the pawns, and it's very easy. The odd tactic, of course, bishop a5, b2, and it promotes. And it's easy. He just promotes the pawns. Or here again, we got a queen. Yeah, and here Gelfand resigned. Black will promote, or alternatively you can sack here and get into this endgame where black simply picks up those 2 pawns and wins. Yeah, a rather typical win for Carlsen. From not much, he managed to create some chances, and then also here queen h5 would have drawn, but he keeps the pressure on. Yeah, here again he had 30 minutes more on the clock, so Gelfand needed to decide on a move with just 2 minutes left, and he simply picked the wrong one, maybe miscalculating something along the way. And after that, Carlsen had excellent winning chances, and he won at the end. So after 3 rounds, we have Aronian leading with +2, excellent score, followed by Carlsen and Swidler, maybe a bit of a surprise. But I had a slight idea that Swidler maybe would do well. If you have the chance, have a look at the video coverage of London. If you have seen photos of Swidler before, he must have lost about 40-50 pounds or something, and looks really fit. So maybe he did some fitness program and really tried his best at this shot at the World Championship match. Maybe it's the last shot that he'll ever get. You never know. And he really looks like he's in good shape, yeah, from a physical point of view, and this is very important for such a tournament. At least he won today, so he's got +1, exactly like Carlsen, who's in the hunt. Kramnik and Ivanchuk are on 50%, all draws, and Gelfand and Radjabov on 50% as well, 1 loss, 1 win. And Gelfand and Ivanchuk are both on -2 at the bottom of the field. It doesn't look good. They both seem out of shape. Ivanchuk with terrible time management, and Gelfand doesn't seem to have the sharpness that is necessary for such a big event. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Tomorrow is a rest day in London. They do rest days every 3 rounds, so round 4 will be played on the coming Tuesday, when I will be doing a video again, of course. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll be back on Tuesday.